Yes. So let's start the class. Hope you all are able to hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll show you the syllabus, what you're going to cover today. So we completed 2 cycles. Now we are getting on to the third cycle. The third cycle, with the last class, I asked you to do an activity in identifying the what all sanitary fixtures we use residentially. Have you guys done that in residence? Taps, mixers, uh, sink taps, health facades, closets, wash basin, bathtubs, um, shower heads, guys. The last class I asked you to do this activity. Fine. You guys have to do a mapping of all of this, what all fixtures, and if at all you're using this book, Water Supply and Sanitary Engineering by Rangwala. Sanitary Engineering. Just saw that. I'll let you know. I'll text you the page number. You can find the definitions of what are the water fixtures which is available. I'm not able to find it. Just saw it sometime back. Okay. So this is what has been asked in the first part: the latest trends and modern fixtures, sensors, automatic stop taps, and all of that. Toilet fixture arrangement, the design consideration on case study and design fixtures in bathroom. Last time I gave you a layout of what is the drainage system, how a drainage system should be mapped. I gave you pictures from this book, which you can use it. And the consideration of a case study and design of fixtures in bathroom is what is the typical bathroom layout is going to be, which is going to be the wet area and how the dry area is segregated, and those would be given here. And being it a building service classes, you can take a section and you can segregate how the piping layouts also are distributed for them. As he said, we can take in all the gray waters, the one from the wash basin as well as from the float trap of the bathing area can be taken for the gray water. The one from the water closet is considered the water closet, and if at all there is a urinal, it can be taken as a separate layout for the black water. You guys are clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you
Yes,
can
sir.
have a section and you can have a distribution drawing of the same. So today, what we will be looking into is we will be looking into septic tanks and what is the design of septic tank, treatment, disposal of septic tank effluents. So once you know all of this, then we use the recycling and reuse of the wastewater from the septic tank. We look into decentralized wastewater treatment systems, soil biotechnology that we look into later part. The part of the decentralized wastewater treatment system includes the root zone treatment system. So this is one collective part which we look into it, and I'll tell you what is the difference between this decentralized wastewater treatment system and in specific to root zone treatment. Then package treatment plant, biological treatment, solid waste management, and the solid part we'll take it up in the next class. Okay. Okay. Fine. We'll start off with septic tank. So, can anyone tell me why is a septic tank used? What is the use of a septic tank? Why can't we use a drainage system? When there are drainage systems available, why are we looking into a septic tank? Guys, you guys are able to see the screen? The section of the septic tank?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, can someone guess at least what is the need of a septic? Huh? What is the need of a septic tank? We do have drainage. We do have a drainage. We have a disposal system. Have you guys come across this term septic tank in any of your houses,
Yes, sir.
places you have visited? Yes. What do you think is the use? I don't want the correct answer. You just tell me whatever you think. What do you think it does?
It collects the waste water from the toilets.
Okay, septic tanks are toilets or any other. Yeah, true. But what it does, what happens here? What do you think happens here? This is again, it's a sewage disposal process. But the thing is, septic tanks are used mostly, not in every place they use septic tanks. Septic tanks are mostly used in places where there is no drainage lines provided. Like if in cities, if you see, there are dedicated drainage lines where when we do a house or when we do any building, we connect our sewage into the drainage lines which is on the roads, and that is being processed and disposed of in a zone for a particular zones. But imagine we have these farmhouses in a remote places. We want to have a farmhouse somewhere in a rural place where in between agricultural fields. So these places, how the sewage disposal happens is that's why we use septic tanks. These are standalone devices. It does pretty much the same process, but not as superior as a drainage system where the treatment happens and then after the treatment the water is disposed of. Not to that extent, but this is quite efficient to a place where any grey water or black water is not put on for a disposal directly. So what exactly happens in a septic tank is, do you see the inlet pipe on the left? So septic tanks are done below the ground, and it's made of usually structures made of RCC so that the water doesn't penetrate, it doesn't leak, percolate through the surface. It's got access covers on the top for inspection as well as for cleaning. It's got an inlet. Inlet is where from the house, from the building, all the sewage is sent through. And you have these black vertical bar, which is the walls, typically a wall section because it's a section of a septic tank. These are called baffle walls, BAFFLE, baffle walls. What it does, you see, so there's an inlet pipe, water, sludge, scum, and then water moves in, and there's an outlet pipe. We do have a vent also. This can't be an airtight chamber. It needs to have a vent. So in the inlet pipe, take a typical residential building. So all the black water and the grey water is going to come through it. And this part, there's another system. It's not necessary that all the grey water also need to be included. The grey water can be taken through a separate tank and it can be treated off. That can save a lot of planning space for a septic tank. The grey water, but in a general case, I'll tell you, so the grey water and black water is taken through. So it's going to have dissolved content as well as non-dissolved content, which is what we call as a scum, which are solids which are floating on the top, as well as sludge. The sludge happens through sedimentation. Even the dissolved content, a period of resting time, the same part will settle down as a sludge. So in between the scum and the sludge, we have the comparatively translucent clear water. So this water, you can say the inlet pipe's height is much higher than the outlet. So what happens is, in this process, normally the water won't be filled up to this extent. There will be water, but by the time the water gets filled up, and then so the baffle wall prevents scum from the top as well as the sludge from the bottom to go into the next chamber, which is on to the right. So this will have a much more clear defined water, wastewater. And this wastewater, again, to prevent the scum, which is floating on the top on the right side, to not to go out of the tank, we use a T-pipe. So the water from the bottom, you can see the difference here. The inlet is on a higher scale than the outlet. So the water from the bottom will go and exit out. Just consider the point where it exits out. Then I'll tell you what exactly happens. So in this way, this is how a septic tank keeps functioning. So normally a septic tank's digestion period is what is considered for 24 hours. But it can be anywhere between 12 to 72 hours. So this process, so what happens is, on a day-to-day usage, this sludge level keeps increasing till the time, even though the digestion process happens, and the septic tank needs a constant maintenance also. A minimum 3 to 6 months, it needs to go through a maintenance. And what happens in the maintenance is, the access cover is open, the sludge is either removed manually or pumped out from the tank. And it's put on a dry, it is normally sun-dried before put onto a pit for disposal of the sludge. So this is the process which goes through a septic tank. And you guys are able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
Anyone's got some doubts? So this is one illustration here. This is another same illustration. But whenever you're doing your drawings, you have to make sure you put it in a nice explanatory manner. The input baffle. You don't need to mention this as an input baffle. Baffle is just a segregation wall. This is just an input and output. Sewage enters from the house from the left. As I told you, the wastewater gets segregated. The scum floats on the top and the sludge gets to the bottom after a period of time. And then through again a T-pipe, it goes into the next chamber. And then same process happens. When the water gets much more clarified and segregated, and then it's taken on to the outlet. So I'll just give you a theoretical explanation for this. A septic tank is just like a plain sedimentation tank. But in septic tank, the biochemical reactions by anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria is bacteria which function on the absence of oxygen. Takes place in the case of sludge. So these bacteria digest the sludge and reduces the volume. During the detention period, as in the water getting onto the inlet until the time it travels out, that's what is called as a detention period. The sewage is purified and effluent is taken off the soak pits for disposal. So this water, whatever the effluent, water effluent is, anything which comes out of the outlet, So there are precautions in which we have to dispose them. We can't directly dispose them onto the fields to a water source. So I'll tell you what are those also. So normally it is disposed in a soak pit or a soak well, which is another pit. Soak pit is a pit which is up to zero point 0.9 to 1.2 meters in 1.5 meters till depth. Soak wells would be to a depth of 3 meters and beyond. So this will go through the ground and it will get much more clarified. So I'll just highlight the features. What are the construction features of septic tank? Septic tank should be constructed of material which are resistant to corrosion. The tanks are constructed watertight, so there's no seepage or percolation which goes to the ground. The construction of the septic tank should be in such a direct current not established between the inlet or outlet. What it says is the construction of septic tank with which a direct current. As I told you in the earlier case, the inlet and the outlet can't be on the same level, or the inlet can't be on a lower level than the outlet. What happens in that case is the water will flow on a reverse. If the inlet and the outlet are in the same level, then what happens is when the water comes in and as the water moves out, it will carry the suspended particles also through it. So that's why to just get the clarified water, the inlet is kept on the higher part on the left and the outlet is kept on the slightly lower part. Septic tank should be properly ventilated by the provision of air and vent pipes. The top cover of the septic tank is usually made of RCC and a manual is provided in the RCC slab for the purpose of inspection and cleaning of the tank. The sludge is allowed to be accumulated at the bottom of the tank. It is removed at intervals either by manual labor or by pumping. The tank should be filled with water at the time of putting in the current working condition. The effluent of the tank should be properly disposed of. The direct discharge of such effluent into natural water should be discouraged. This is what the point I mentioned. A septic tank thus combines the functions of sedimentation tank, a sludge digestion tank, and a sludge storage tank. If we have gone through the earlier process of the primary water, wastewater treatment, primary, secondary, and tertiary, so we would have seen about the sedimentation tank where the sludge is taken off, and later we look into another process in which the sludge is digested, and later where the sludge is stored. So all of these functions primarily work in one place, which is the septic tank here. The septic tanks may be constructed in series to act like two storage sludge tanks, as in it can go through multiple chambers also. But most common is a single stage septic tanks. The accumulation of the sludge at the bottom of a tank decreases its storing capacity, and hence septic tank should be cleaned every 6 to 12 months. Okay, and the terminologies, the design aspect. What is a design consideration for a septic tank? A design consideration for septic tank is pretty much the same as a water consumption by humans. We have a per capita capacity, right? So imagine 5 people are living in a house, and then what is a water capita per capacity is the same water disposal capita also. So which would be 125 liters per person per day. So which is the same accounted for. So let's see what's the content given on the book. The volume of septic tank is decided by taking into consideration the quantity of flow and the detention period. Detention period is average 24 hours. It can also be designed as per the capita basis, which varies from 60 to 110 liters per person to be served by the septic tank. The space for the sludge is usually kept at a rate of 14 to 45 liters per year, per capita per year. Detention period varies between from 12 to 72 hours, the common being 24 hours. A freeboard, this should be about 400 mm to 600 mm. What is freeboard? Freeboard is, do you see the space on the top between the top level, the top wall, top flooring, and the scum? This is called the freeboard. The function of the freeboard is a easy movement of water and the proper segregation of the solid floating on the top. If the freeboard is not there, then the chances of, it's a mandatory feature that the freeboard should exist, so the water doesn't go through any vacuum, it and the septic tanks functions smoothly. The septic tanks are generally rectangular in shape. The ratio to length to width is about 2 to 4. And now comes the important part. What is the disposal of effluents? Effluents is whatever which is going to go out of the septic tank from the outlet. The effluent of a septic tank is highly odorous. It's smelly, and that should be carefully discharged. Absorption trenches. Absorption trenches is, there are pathway which are slightly dug up with soil so that it is a very shallow and the water can be disposed on the surface, which gets percolated. Percolated in the sense which gets absorbed by the ground. Trenches should be sufficient in size. At the bottom of a trench, a layer of broken stone is laid. The effluent of the septic tank, when placed in absorption trenches, it is absorbed by the ground. Gardening. The water can be used for gardening. The effluent of septic tank can be used for the purpose of gardening also, but the method of disposal is to be adopted. The possible danger on health of nearby residents should be seriously considered. Why it's mentioned here is, when the septic tank water is used for gardening, if we have plants which are on a closer accessibility to human beings, there would be a stench, a smell coming out of the water which is waiting to be percolated. It's so that is a one precaution which needs to be taken up. The effluent can be disposed of in a natural water, could be a running stream, provided that these water are sufficient magnitude to dilute the septic tank effluents. See, the thing is, septic tank can't be directly disposed of. The intent of here is, when there is a magnitude with a higher volume of water flow, then the septic tank, the content can be put up so that in that volume, the effluent will get diluted. But imagine if you're putting it up in a small pond or a storage tank, a water storage facility, there is no way it is going to get diluted because the outlet supply is going to keep on increasing. So that means it will spoil the water source also. If it's a water which is of a magnitude so high where it's like a running stream, a perennial stream which goes on throughout, and then you can take it up. So the next is the one which is commonly used. Soak pits is the common used method. A soak pit is a hollow circular pit. The total depth of the soak pit is 1.2 meters to 1.8 meters. The effluent falls in the pit and it is allowed to be soaked and absorbed into the surrounding soil. This is a common method which is used. The pits may be kept empty or filled with brick pads, broken bricks, or broken stones. Next method is soak wells. A soak well is similar to a soak pit except that it is larger in size. The depth of the soak well is about 3 meters. This is also a popular method of disposal of septic tank. Few other methods which can be taken up is subsurface irrigation. The method of disposal of septic tank effluent is useful when porous soil is available. The effluent is conveyed and discharged to the underground drains. Subsurface is below the ground. Under the ground, a surface drain line is taken and the outlet is sent through it and later disposed of. A surface irrigation is from the outlet, can be disposed on the surface, top level itself, where the water gets absorbed. Trickling filter is again a filtering process where it is trickled and put onto a medium of bacteria and stones, where it gets filtered through and then it soaks below. So these are the Methods, the disposal of effluents. Quickly go through the advantage and the disadvantage. The advantage is it does not practically require any special attention or skilled supervision. It can be constructed easily. The cost is reasonable as compared to the advantages it offers. A performance of a properly constructed septic tank is very good. It can remove about 90% of the BOD. Biological oxygen demand is what BOD, about 80% of the suspended solids. There is absence of any moving parts. It doesn't have any moving parts. There is a reduction in the volume of sludge as compared to the sludge of plain sedimentation tank. The sludge, effluent, and scum obtained from the septic tank can be disposed of easily without any serious nuances. Now, the next important point: what are the disadvantages of septic tank? Guys, note it down. This is quite important. Why? Because we have seen what the process of septic tank. We have known the advantages, but why is not septic tank so commonly seen? Why is not being used? You need to understand what are the disadvantages of a septic tank. If the tank is not functioning properly, the effluent is dark, foul smelling. That is even more worse than the influent. See, when the septic tank, a septic tank is designed without the proper calculation of what is the water which is going to flow in and what is the detention period it has to go through and then go through the outlet. If it's not being followed, the septic tank is not going to function efficiently. So this deteriorates the quality of the wastewater. The wastewater by itself has got so much of bacteria and contents which are harmful, but it will even more worsen the situation. That's what. If the septic tank is not functioning properly, the output, the effluent would be much more severe and bad than the input which comes into the septic tank. What is the next? It requires excessive large size for serving more persons. The size of the septic tank increases with the person, as I told you. When we calculated as with the per capita capacity of a person, the size also increases a lot. The leakages from the top of septic tank leads to air pollution because all the contents go through a digestion and it's going to let out gas, which is mostly methane, which is harmful and dangerous to human being as well as to the environment. The occasional removal of sludge adds to its maintenance cost and it is a very tedious job. The sludge removal process. The working of septic tank is unpredictable and non-uniform. This is a general characteristic. There's never been a method in which where we can predict the septic tank is functioning on the same note, because at times it will perform very well, at times it will underperform also. So now why is that main reason that we are using septic tank? Now we have seen the disadvantages. Septic tanks at present are not generally recommended for treating of sewage on large scale. So only for a small scale process we can use for a residence or small buildings. They, however, are still useful for isolated structures or localities where drainage connection to the municipal sewers is not possible. So this is the reason why septic tank is required. So we have very detailedly covered septic tank. This is possibly a 16-mark question in which you have to describe the designing process, what are the functions of it, definitely draw a section of it and annotate, give illustrative methods. Any questions of septic tank?
Sir,
Yes. Okay.
sir, I have a doubt how the wastewaters are disposed out, sir. Even if you are using for disposal for gardening and we can't tell 100% it is disposed of, sir. So how they will be disposed that easily, or
No,
will it be stagnant there?
that's what the thing is. the common method of disposal, that is the effluents, what we call as effluents, which the water comes into the septic tank, it goes through a detention period, which is a waiting period where the contents dissolved in the water settle down as a sludge. Even if it's floating on the top, it is segregated and then it comes to the next chamber. And this is what, again, it goes through a waiting period and it comes out. Here, what you would be most likely the output of it would be a grayish brown water. Okay, this is what is the effluent. This effluent, what can be done? The common disposal, what are the disposal methods is, it is led through a soak pit, which is the common soak pit or the soak well, which is another pit which is done adjacent to the septic tank. And this would be allowed to, this can be again filtered out through a process of brick baths, which are broken bricks, and broken stones can be taken. A layer of charcoal, which is activated carbon, which also can be taken, and then it is led to percolate into the ground. This is one method, the soak pit or soak well. Otherwise, as I said, yes, it can be used for gardening, but again, the caution here is, once you're putting out for gardening, it should be put on a place which is like, as a not on a walkway, right? Adjacent to a walkway. The reason is there is a still amount of stench, a smell, which would be received from the water there. But it can be used. It can be used. Once the process is done, it can be used. And later on, in few places, that's what, again, the few other advantages is, it the soil, natural soil is very porous, then it can be taken for a subsurface irrigation or surface irrigation.
Yes, sir.
It is not a very safe practice, but yeah, it can be taken into consideration that the water can be used for gardening. But mostly a soak pit would be the most common method, soak pits and soak wells.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Any other questions, guys? Any part which you didn't understand? Okay. Fine. You can just have a reading of it, or you can go on to YouTube, see if there is any video which can has got a process explaining the process. Have a look into it, because I know just orally listening from a person, I'm not sure how well. If you have this book, please go through the book. It's got a very detailed process given to it.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, is that book
Tell me, Akhil.
available in ebook manual or something like that, sir? In online mode, we can.
Ebook, it's not available. I think it's available in Amazon, wherein you can order for a hard copy. Soft copy of it is not available. I tried looking onto it.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
This is Water Supply and Sanitary Engineering by Rangwala.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, we'll go on to the second part today. What is okay? Decentralized wastewater treatment is what we're going to start in now. Okay, what is a decentralized wastewater treatment is no different. We have already seen this. Do you remember this process of primary wastewater treatment, then the secondary and the tertiary? How a wastewater is treated on an industrial manner is a decentralized wastewater treatment. So you can go through the contents that I'll share it with you. So it goes through multiple levels of treatment, as in what is a primary treatment of sedimentation, coagulation happens. Then it goes to a biological treatment of using aerobic or anaerobic bacteria. And third is a chemical treatment, which uses a chlorine and all to make the water much more clearer. But here, so that is what the desalinized wastewater treatment is. But again, there is another method in which desalinized wastewater treatment, where a root zone treatment is also a part of it. How it happens is, so here, this is one other process. The desalinized wastewater treatment is one. This is one other process. A primary treatment, as we looked into earlier, the primary treatment is used as a screening and segregation of floating oils, grease in a grease trap, or just a place where it's led to sediment settle down. And in the secondary way treatment, where baffle walls, what you can see as the vertical members here, are called the baffle walls, which is going to work pretty much same as what septic tank has been working, using anaerobic bacteria, where the sludge is removed stage by stage and then the water is taken out. And here in the tertiary treatment, what you see here is the root zone treatment, a gravel filter through the root zone treatment. So here what happens is the water, the wastewater which is removed, is passed through a space of gravels and soil and plants. The mechanism happens here is a biological conversion, because biological conversion, the roots from the plants are going to take the contents, whatever probably nitrogen from the wastewater and whatever probably nutrients required for the plants will take it. And physical filtration, because being it gravel and sand, the water is physically segregated. Chemical absorption, which is again what the plants does. And then, so what you can see at the bottom is the inlet on the left, water comes in, it goes through this process from the left to right, and later on a much more clarified and better water, the treated water, is taken out. Okay, and then it is stored in a ponds and used up. Could be used for farming or could be used as a storage. And you can see the water, the oxygen movement, which is from the surface as there's water movement, it mixes up with the oxygen from the atmosphere. So a detailed version of the root zone treatment is what I'd show you now. So here they would have given you a general explanation of what's a grey water, black water, which we already seen. The effective technology called the decentralized wastewater treatment, DWATS, this is what our syllabus also mentioned, was developed in 1970s in Germany and is successfully implemented in different countries, mainly Europe and America. Root zone wastewater treatment makes use of biological and physical treatment process, as I told you. So, to accomplish the root zone wastewater treatment undertakes the following steps. Pre-treatment done in settlers. You can see the first image. The sewage inflow comes in. As I told you, sludge gets segregated. The scum floats on the top. Pretty much like what a septic tank does. This is what happens here. It goes in the next chamber and it goes through outflow. And on the first treatment, anaerobic baffled reactor. A device is several identical chambers through which effluent moves from top to bottom. You can see it goes from one chamber to other chamber. Again, it's got manuals. Anaerobic bacteria are used to digest the sludge and the water is taken out. Next is anaerobic filter. A device is filled with filter material, cinders, stones through which effluent moves from top to bottom. Stones or gravels are used here. So this becomes like a physical method from the outflow from the second process. It goes into this process. Primary sedimentation happens. Then the water is taken from the top to bottom. The effluent moves from top to bottom and it's taken out as for the outlet. In the third treatment, it goes to the planted gravel filter. The structure is filled with gravel materials and planted with water-resistant reed plants, which provides oxygen to the passing effluents. It increases the oxygen also As you know, the demand for the carbon dioxide, which the plant requires, is being taken from the water, the sewage effluent, and the oxygen is turned back, and a clean water is given out. So, what is the difference here between the conventional water treatment plant and the root zone treatment plant? A lot of sewage aeration tanks, which is the conventional method. Remember the method what we saw earlier, which is about the primary, secondary, and the tertiary water treatment, and it goes through various processes. That is what we are speaking of as a conventional water treatment plant. A lot of sewage aeration tanks provided with mechanical energy do not work because of power cuts, technical problem, and poor maintenance in a conventional system. But in root zone treatment, its treatment and construction features is designed to limit operation, and maintenance requirements are in the same to ensure high treatment standards even for shock loads. As in, it doesn't have any, it functions very efficiently, and it doesn't take any technical lags in the root zone treatment process. In a conventional water treatment plant, requires a lot of energy, external energy. Here, a minimal need for external energy. There, in the conventional treatment plant, pumps are needed. Here, gravity, using gravity instead of pumps, avoiding valves. Regular maintenance required in a conventional treatment plant. Here, zero maintenance happens. High operation cost in a conventional plant, but in root zone treatment plant, it's a low operation cost. So, you can go online, you can read through various other contents presented also regarding the root zone treatment plant. Now I just picked up one common and very easily illustrated example so that you guys would be able to understand much more clearly. Is there any queries here, guys?
Awesome.
Okay. So please have a reading of all of these contents. You don't need to worry regarding the book. You can just take it out from the look on for the same topics online, and you can use it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, one minute. Is there any content what I explained you today which you didn't understand, which I should repeat it? Please let me know. I can do that. I'm trying to figure out where those content of. If I'm not able to quickly find out, I'll let you know, guys, where to look out for. It's quite simple. This is regarding the sanitary fittings and fixtures what you use in the toilets. You saw the syllabus. The top, the first content is that, and what are the modern features like the automatic water dispensers and all of that, taps, sensor-based ones. So please make a content of it. And I think 8th onwards, you're starting on your midterm. If possible, I'll make a question bank. I'm working on it right now. So I'll finish up a question bank and then I can circulate also if possible. Okay. So all of this is going to be related from the syllabus. You don't need to worry. I'll share the contents also online.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. I've floated the attendance in GCR. Do mark your attendance in GCR.
Yes, sir.
Shall we end the call, guys? Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.